What is arm twisting? What is the concept of arm twisting in geopolitics? Today we will discuss on the topic arm twisting. Arm twisting in geopolitics refers to the application of pressure, often through coercive means, by one nation to influence or force another nation into complying with its demands or policies. It involves the use of economic, political, or military leverage to achieve a desired outcome without outright conflict or warfare. This strategy is akin to strong-arming or manipulating a weaker party into submission, often at the expense of their sovereignty or interests. Why do countries use arm twisting? Countries resort to arm twisting when diplomatic negotiations, appeals, or incentives fail to achieve desired goals. It's a method of exerting influence when softer measures don't yield results. In geopolitical scenarios, nations often face conflicting interests, and arm twisting becomes a tool for securing national priorities in these situations. Key reasons why a country might use arm twisting. 1. Securing strategic interests. Nations may apply pressure to ensure access to vital resources, trade routes, or military bases. 2. Influencing policy. Countries may want to manipulate another state's foreign policy or internal decisions in favor of their geopolitical interests. 3. Economic dominance. Some nations use financial leverage, such as sanctions or threats of trade restrictions, to force compliance on economic terms. 4. Maintaining hegemony. Superpowers or influential nations may use arm twisting to keep rival nations in check, maintain regional dominance, or preserve the global balance of power. Is arm twisting in geopolitics good or bad? The morality of arm twisting in geopolitics is subjective and context-dependent. While it can bring about desired results without warfare, it undermines principles of diplomacy, fairness, and mutual respect between nations. Coercion tends to favor stronger powers, often leaving smaller or weaker countries disadvantaged and stripped of agency. In some cases, like enforcing sanctions on rogue states that violate international law, arm twisting can be seen as a necessary evil. However, when used indiscriminately or excessively, it can destabilize regions, exacerbate conflicts, and lead to widespread suffering. Benefits of using arm twisting in geopolitics. 1. Quick results. Arm twisting can lead to fast outcomes when other diplomatic avenues fail. By using economic or military threats, the coercing nation might quickly achieve its objectives. 2. No full-scale conflict. Arm twisting is seen as a way to avoid direct conflict. Instead of waging a war, a nation uses its leverage to make others comply without actual military engagement. 3. Economic gains. Countries may force trade agreements or economic policies that disproportionately benefit them, ensuring economic dominance over weaker states. 4. Political influence. It allows stronger nations to keep weaker states in line with their geopolitical goals, shaping the global political landscape in their favor. Demerits of arm twisting in geopolitics. 1. Damage to relationships. Persistent arm twisting can lead to long-term resentment. The coerced state may feel humiliated or manipulated, which could weaken future diplomatic relations. 2. Instability. While arm twisting can produce short-term gains, it often results in political instability in the target country. The government under pressure might face public backlash or internal strife. 3. Erosion of sovereignty. When one country forces another to comply with demands, it undermines the sovereignty of the coerced state. This can lead to nationalistic movements, rebellion, or further conflicts. 4. Global repercussions. Heavy-handed arm twisting can trigger negative global responses. Other nations may view the coercing nation as a bully, resulting in reputational damage or the formation of coalitions against it. When to use arm twisting. 1. Strategic crises. It may be employed in times of critical need, such as a looming military threat or immediate economic collapse, when swift action is needed. 2. Uncooperative adversaries. Arm twisting can be an option when diplomacy fails with adversaries who pose a security risk or refuse to compromise on essential issues. 3. High-stakes negotiations. In negotiations where crucial national interests, such as territorial disputes, trade agreements, or defense pacts, are at stake, countries may use arm twisting as a last resort. When not to use arm twisting. 1. With allies. Using coercion with allies risks undermining trust and damaging long-standing partnerships. Diplomacy and negotiation are more suitable with friendly nations. 2. In fragile states, applying excessive pressure on politically unstable or fragile nations can lead to regime collapse, resulting in chaos, civil war, or power vacuums. 3. Long-term objectives. Arm twisting is not suitable for fostering sustainable relationships or long-term agreements. It is often a short-term tactic that can backfire in the long run. Why do superpowers like America use arm twisting? The United States has often been accused of using arm twisting tactics in its foreign policy, particularly during the Cold War and in its contemporary global dealings. There are several reasons why a superpower like the US might resort to arm twisting. 1. Maintaining global influence. As a global superpower, the US aims to safeguard its strategic interests worldwide, such as access to oil, economic influence, and military alliances. 2. Preventing rival influence. By pressuring smaller or non-aligned nations, the US aims to prevent rival nations, like Russia or China, from gaining a foothold in certain regions. 3. Economic leverage. The US uses its economic might, including sanctions and trade restrictions, to arm twist countries like Iran, Venezuela, or North Korea into changing their behavior or policies. 4. National security. In the post-World Trade Center attack, the US has used arm twisting in matters of national security, pressuring countries to cooperate on counterterrorism or military operations. Applying arm twisting in personal life. In personal or business relationships, arm twisting can be seen in the form of manipulation, coercion, or applying undue pressure to get others to act in a desired way. While effective in the short term, this strategy has significant risks. 1. Short-term success. You might get what you want, but at the cost of trust and goodwill. 2. Backlash. Overusing coercion can lead to resentment, damaged relationships, or rebellion. 3. Tension. Relationships, whether personal or professional, thrive on mutual respect. Coercion often leads to an imbalance of power, causing long-term issues. In life, arm twisting should only be used sparingly, in cases where all other avenues of persuasion or negotiation have failed and the stakes are exceptionally high. Conclusion. In geopolitics, arm twisting is a double-edged sword. While it can secure national interests and avoid war, its coercive nature often leads to resentment, instability, and long-term diplomatic fallout. Superpowers like the US use it to maintain global dominance, but at the risk of damaging international relations and trust. In personal life, employing similar tactics can lead to temporary gains but often causes friction in relationships. Like in geopolitics, manipulation should be used with caution, as it rarely leads to lasting, positive outcomes. Ultimately, while arm twisting can be effective in certain high-stakes scenarios, its moral and practical downsides mean it should be used as a last resort, favoring diplomacy and mutual respect where possible.